Good morning, welcome to a new update of the markets in which we have just seen a new all-time high on Bitcoin. Before we are going to start, I would like to say subscribe to this channel to stay tuned to the new content that's coming out, and 2021 is going to be heavy on the content in which we will be providing educational content, interviews, duo streams and market updates to keep you up to date on the markets day in, day out. Next to that, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I went live there yesterday, was fun to do, and I'm be going live more often to just share my thoughts, answer your questions, especially when the market is volatile. I do not want to go on live on YouTube all the time. So Monday and Tuesday are YouTube live standard times from next week on again. And if I go live additionally, that's probably going to be on Instagram. Next, what do we see on the markets? We do see that we've had a nice breakout of Bitcoin. We did see that we've had an acceleration upwards, and that is great. However, we just also witnessed a pretty violent drop down. So what do we see? We do see that we've had this peak high during Christmas, or at least on Sunday. We did see that we've had a drop down, which is the first level 26.5, which we bounced from, lower high. Another test which immediately gives us the lower level that we have here, which is 25.8. Since then we have been chopping around between 26 and 27.5, as 27.5 is the upwards breaker that we have to break through in order to see continuation upwards. So what do we see here? Support has been holding at 26k. Higher low constructed, and given that we have been testing 27.5 a few times, the next break was most likely going to bring us a new all-time high, which we did, and immediately dropped down. Initially, or it's saying that the liquidity has been taken above this high. As we broke through this 27 to 27.5k zone, targets can be defined, and targets can be defined through Fibonacci, through which we can see 30k and 32.8 are the areas that we're looking at, but that is as long as 27 to 27.5 is going to hold. And if 27 to 27.5 is not going to hold, we most likely get a very harsh drop down inside this range again. So what we're looking at right now is that this range support has to sustain support. As long as that's been done, we can see a bounce up, and then the crucial breaker is between 27.9 to 28.1. If that rejects and we're going to test the support again, most likely we fall through and immediately drop down to the other side of the range, and the other side of the range is found at these wicks, which is around 25.8 to 26.2. In that case, if we drop that far down, you want to see buyers stepping in this zone again. If buyers are stepping in this zone and we get an immediate bounce to 27 again, most likely the bottom is in. However, if we get a very weak bounce towards 26.5 for instance, most likely we are going to chop around and fall further down the line, in which the next support area is around 24k. So the crucial breaker right now is 27 to 27.5. If that is lost, further downside is expected. And then we're going to look at the higher time frames on Bitcoin, in which we can see that the daily time frame is looking like a potential top structure, especially given that this recent move did not have too much volume. But what we can see is that the crucial breaker is 26k on the downside. Most likely this range around 28.5 is going to be the upside range resistance for a little while, and 26 is going to be the support if on the lower time frames. That's the first crucial breaker. If 26 is lost, most likely we're going to have a fall through, and then I'm going to target this block around 23 to 23.5. That is one of the major crucial levels that I'm looking at for support. If that is going to sustain support and buyers are going to step in there, most likely we are going to get a range bound construction in which we are copy pasting the area that we had previously during the halving, and that is going to suit the altcoins relatively well. If 23k is lost, 19.5 is the next level that I'm looking at, but that is after we lose 23k or when I see weakness at 23k. So the crucial levels at a conclusion is 26 on the downside, lower time frame, 28.5 on the upside. If 26 is lost, I'm going to look at 23 block, 23 to 23.5. If that is lost, I'm going to look at 19.5. If we're looking at the total market cap, we can see that it's trying to break the all-time high resistance zone. However, the RSI is also still in a heavily overextended move. Weekly did not close yet. So if Bitcoin is going to drop a little down, this one can be closing below this level of 700 billion. If that is closing beneath, we're going to look at those zones still for a higher low construction or a support resistance flip. And then we most likely get a similar correction and then continuation afterwards, in which the next rally is going to bring us above 1 trillion. Altcoin market cap, still looking like we're going to do this. A little bit more consolidation and then continuation, in which the next impulse wave will most likely bring us towards 330 billion and even a new all-time high, as altcoins are likely to continue building from here and to follow Bitcoin. Then we have got ETH BTC. And we have been discussing ETH BTC a lot, in which we have been saying that ETH BTC had to hold the 0 to 5 range. And it actually did. On the weekends it started to bounce heavily, through which the higher low is constructed. We do see higher highs, we do see higher lows, and now we see another higher low, in which we most likely get a construction like this, in which we're going to chop around a little bit, end of this falling wedge construction, and then have a breakout at the end of January, in which we're going to see that rally towards the 0.4 sats range. If that breaks in one go, we are going to see a new higher high, and then we're looking at 0.56 as the next level for ETH. And if you calculate Bitcoin at 23k, with this level it's going to be close towards a new all-time high for ETH. And that is what we have been stating on the chart for ETH as well, in which if we get a correction on Bitcoin, most likely the dollar value of ETH is going to drop down a little as well. But given the strength on this move of ETH already, the next impulse wave is going to come from the ETH BTC pair, and is most likely going to bring us towards those target zones that we have here, which is around a new all-time high. And that's where I'm going to end this update. Tomorrow I'll be back with another update, and then it's time for the new year 2021. So don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh update.